2, 1, and back again. John Ron Halderman for part 2 of his epic stories. Mr. Halderman was Marine doing security during the Castle Bravo thermonuclear tests. And you can go back to our episode from about a month ago where we talked for 2 hours and back again. So December 1st, 2021, episode 632. Mr. Halderman, what do you have to say? What stories are we going into today?
That's Operation Castle.
Castle Bravo.
Yeah.
So you were just starting to tell me before we started recording about your bar hopping stories, and
I did a little bit of that.
Yeah. So what do you got for me?
I've been called stupid in there too when guys would ask me where I've been and what ship I was on. I told them I didn't know. They'd ask you. I said, well, I don't know. And they said, you're kind of stupid. I said, yeah, I'm stupid.
Yeah, I suppose.
Never told anybody for 45 years. 47, really.
Yeah. Yeah, that's got to be frustrating when you know what you
just kind of forget it. And I've talked to other Marines at reunions, and it was the same thing. People would ask them what they did and where they went. He says, I just can't tell you. And they give you that, hey, you're the seagoing bellhop. Yeah, I was, but yeah. I still can't tell you. Back because it wasn't declassified. I think Clinton did that in 98 or 96. And the reunion people found me in 2000. And the reason it was a little late because my father-in-law lived with me for 11 years and the phone was in his name. His job was to pay the phone bill. So I had an unlisted number without paying extra for it. People, when I call my buddy, the number comes up under William Fernier, F-U-R-N-I-E-R. And my buddy said, hey, Bill, how you doing? I said, fine. Because it would come up on their phone, on their ID. That's why that happened. But I've been running my mouth for 21 years. In fact, I just went out to a Mount Pleasant military retirement, November the 10th, Marine birthday, and gave about a 20-minute speech and got a nice dinner. And one of the guys I ran with, Levette Moniz, that I went to high school with him, and I met him in boot camp. This girl says, well, I knew Kevin, but I went to school with Kevin. And that's this guy's son. It's a small world. So I gave her that little book I got. I got a little book if you want to read it.
I'd love to.
My daughter wrote it for me. It's about 80 pages on what happened over there and how I got mixed up in the stolen car ring and all that shit when I was a snot-nosed 13-year-old kid.
You got mixed up in you said you got mixed up in a stolen car ring?
He said, hey, Ron, come on in. I just jumped in the back seat, 13. He was 16, stole it. And he stole 20 cars. That was the only one I was in. So I'm up in the court, and the judge said, you got anything to say? And I said, I didn't call him Your Honor. I just said, yeah, I do. I said, I didn't steal anything. I just sat in the back seat. I didn't even know how to drive. He said, shut up, you smart aleck. I put that in that. True story. He stole 20 cars and I was in the back seat of one. So I'm in a stolen car ring. So that's still on my record.
So when you were 13, that was what, 1947?
47.
47?
47.
Yeah, you were 13 and the first time you rode in a stolen car.
I just jumped in it. I knew it wasn't his, but I didn't see him steal it. But they don't care.
Yeah, yeah.
How did have murdered somebody? They got me for second-degree manslaughter or something.
Oh, 100% they would. How does something like that affect getting like a top secret clearance for something like Castle Bravo?
Didn't affect it at all. Because I told them that, and it's still on there. And my son wanted me a lawyer to take it off the record. I said, I'm not paying $2,000 to some shithead lawyer. So then it's still on there anyway. Because I don't trust them. They're licensed thieves anyway. So you ought to know that.
Oh yeah, I do. So how do things progress from there in terms of, because I mean, that's a wild story, being 13 and riding in a stolen car, and so is witnessing a thermonuclear explosion. What other stories do you have?
Well, gosh, I tell you the beer can story over the Oakland Bay Bridge.
You did tell that one.
That one told that one. In fact, I just got a Christmas card through the email from his wife. He passed away in 2018. His name was Ed Franklin. And did I tell you about when they first found me and I called him?
No.
Ed Franklin. I got a letter from him and George Kelly, who formed the Curtis reunions. He's the one that started it, and the Curtis Marines. And so when I got the letter the same day, they've been looking for me since it was declassified, that trying to run guys down. A lot of them are dead. And I got the letter from Ed Franklin and Kelly the same day. So I called Ed Franklin first. He used to live out in San Leandro. I think he's in Sacramento then. He answered the phone. I said, "Is this Ed Franklin?" He said, "Yes, it is." I said, "Is this Edward Chesley Franklin?" He said, "Yeah." I said, "This is Ron Halderman." "You son of a bitch, we thought you was dead or in prison." I said, "No, I'm an outstanding citizen of the community." And I went to my first reunion. That was in April of 2000. And I went to my first reunion in Laughlin, Nevada in May. And I wanted to, they had a Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday down to Colorado for $39 for all 3 nights, $13 a night. So I went out on a Monday because I wanted to get back and bet the Kentucky Derby. I was bet the Derby over that first weekend in May. And so I went out on Monday. I said, "I'm coming out and I'm going to leave Wednesday." So I get down to the parking lot and there's Red Dog McKenzie and Ed Franklin in the parking lot waiting for me. So they didn't have a room. Well, the hell, they've been married 2 or 3 times. And you're out in California, you're lucky to have a trailer after you get divorced out there. So they were going to stay with me, and I go sign in, and that woman had 1 king size bed. Wait a minute. I said, "I want 2 queens. I don't want to sleep with these guys."
Yeah.
She said, "You put their name down there, who you want, who they are." So I wrote Sophie Loren on the one. I said, "I tell that story. Did you imagine Sophie Loren staying with me in a $39 room?" It's a good story. They were my best buddies, those 2 guys. We ran a lot. We'd go to Vegas and we'd go up there to where the Union Pacific Railroad station, and we sleep in that park. Didn't have any money. Just had, I think I had $150. Well, what's that get you in Vegas? So we'd sleep in the park, had blankets and pillows, and we'd go to the bus station next door, and we'd go in there and shave and brush our teeth and change into our non-sleeping clothes. And I used to tell Red Dog, he was from Vegas. I said, "Well, what we do then, we'd go out to the sands and take a bar of tag soap with us, take a bath in their swimming pool," which that's another lie too. But I like telling it.
So how many nights did you sleep in a park?
Well, we went up there over Labor Day weekend, and I think in 1954, and we got up there Friday. It was Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Came back Monday to ship. 3 nights. And then bums in there, homeless in there, and one bum told my buddy, he said, "Boy, your mommy's much like you guys. You got blankets and pillows." Cardboard. Brains would go through and wake you up. Well, when you're a young stud, you do all that crap, 19, 20 years old. So.
Yeah.
And we saved our money to go out and play the slot and act like we were hot shots. And we had the Red Dog's brother, Roy McKenzie, was assistant chief of police in Vegas after he got out of the Marines. He was in 5 years, and he went in a private and came out a private. He was my hero because he didn't take any shit off anybody. And he'd tell us, hand a $5 bill to the maitre d' when you go to these shows. Have it folded in your hand, and when they go to seat, you just flip him at 5, and he don't dare look at it back in the insult. And he put us right down there in the front row. And they'd have him. You ever hear Lily St. Cyr, the stripper?
No.
She'd come out in the bubble bath. She had reverse. She'd come out in the bubble bath, then get dressed, dry off, always to music. And we're sitting there in the front row watching that bunch of horny kids. Well, we were. What the hell? And Lily Christine, a Catwoman. She, not Halle Berry. Lily Christine, that was her name, and said she'd always take it all off, and they'd throw her in jail because you weren't allowed to do that then. And then she'd come back and she'd pack them in from then on. So we tried to get down there to see her on opening night. That's when she stripped it off. It's a big deal on that.
So that was illegal. So that would have been indecent exposure. So they don't care that it's an act. They'll throw her right in jail.
Had the shaved digger around there. That's okay too. So, but that's what you did when you got away from that ship. We was in Monterey one time, and it was 95 degrees out, and Brandon was overnight Liberty. And Brandon wasn't going to let the Marines off, and Red Dog was Admiral's orderly. So Admiral said, "Where are you going, Corporal McKenzie?" And he said, "I have to stay aboard, but we don't get Liberty." Admiral got on the PA and said, "All hands get on Liberty." So Monterey is only about 90 miles from San Leandro. So me and Franklin put on our dress blues and went out and hit 101 and hitchhiked up to San Leandro. Some woman picked us up in a convertible. She was from San Leandro. She let us out right in front of his house. So we up there, and the good gal he was going with that time drove us back the next morning. So just to get away from them, because if you're near the ship, they put you on duty.
Yeah.
So we had Liberty. We were gone, so we took off. But we did stuff like, I bet I hitchhiked up and down that coast, and I don't know how many times, just to get away. What is that?
I don't know.
Maybe somebody sent me some mail or something.
I think
I'm not switching over though, Tom.
So when you look back at something like that, now, is there any concern from the military that, right, a bunch of 19-year-old guys and you're taking part in these classified things, and then you get off and you go be rambunctious, hitchhike, get drunk? Is there any concern that, someone maybe says things they shouldn't say? I'm thinking if I'm 19 and I'm shit-faced.
We never talked. No. When I went to my reunions and started finding out what those guys did, their wives and children said, Dad never talked about it. We don't know what he did. I said, well, I didn't talk about it either. That's what surprised me after all those years. And then when you do meet, you find out that nobody mentioned the bombs or what we did or anything. So we'd go over to pick those bombs up on one of those islands, say you Quadrilene or whatever. They had them stored all over there. We carried the big one over on our ship and then armed it over there at Bikini. But there was bombs stashed away over there, different places. And Morgio and Franklin and me went with a Lieutenant Cenero to pick one of them up. And when you go on there on that LS and you sit on that ship, you go down to eat, you eat by yourself, and you're sitting over a corner by yourself. And a sailor went by one time and said, "Hey, man," I said, "do I have leprosy?" He said, "What?" I said, "Hell, nobody even talks to me." So we were told to stay away from you, Marines. You're going to shoot us. I said, "Shit, I'm not going to shoot you." But that was the atmosphere. That was the way it was. But we didn't shoot anybody.
Yeah. The
closest we came to Ezel going to shoot that Marine captain. I told you that story.
Yeah.
His name wasn't on the list, but we knew he had a top secret clearance. But you're not on there. He said, "Well, I'm coming aboard." And he pulled out that 45. He said, "No, you're not. You come aboard and I'll shoot you." Boy, he didn't come aboard either. But he went back wanting to bust everybody out.
Wait, no, you didn't tell that story.
Didn't I tell that story?
No, you didn't.
I'm telling it now.
Tell it now.
Or he had an entourage with him, and he was a pompous ass anyway. Nobody liked him. And he was going to come aboard. It wasn't the first shot. It was on a barge, so it was either the second or third. And we have an access list there with say your name's on there. You've got your Q clearance top secret badge pinned to your lapel, and with your picture in there, and we have to take that and hold that up, check your name on the list. Well, his name wasn't on the list. Well, we knew he had a top secret clearance, but your name ain't on the list. And Ezel, my buddy, was on the gate checking everybody. We were in the back. And he said, "Well, I'm coming aboard." And everybody on that, he was with one aboard but him. He's one aboard over there. And he said, I'm your superior officer, Corporal, and I'm coming aboard. These said, your name isn't on the list and you're not coming aboard. Says, you come aboard and I'll shoot you. And that he had that 45 out under his chin. So we go to reunion. So why'd you shoot him? You'd have been our hero. But we didn't shoot anybody. That was the only incident where we had to do that. Or Zell did. But I was a corporal in charge, so but he wanted to bust everybody out. And he goes back to the admiral. And the admiral says, just put your name on the list. Well, you don't know where they're testing you, or where it was a clerical error, or where the clerk didn't like him and left his name off purposely. But it don't make any difference. You had orders to shoot to kill, but we didn't shoot that I know of, except that incident there. So.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's one thing you got to think about is, is it a clerical error?
They clamped down on. We thought we were in a damn Gestapo. God, it was chicken shit.
Yeah.
And you just hated it.
Yeah.
You hated it the whole time you was on there.
Yeah.
And I like ship. For the Marines on shipboard duty, you got a nice warm bunk and you got 3 squares. You're not laying out in the rain of foxhole eating C rations or K rations. So much for that.
Yeah. Because that's a good point. You got to be wondering, is this a security test?
You can't take it. They tell you nobody's coming. If they're not on the list, don't let them in. Yes, sir. So that's the way it is.
Yeah. Now, did you guys ever find out if why he wasn't on the list? Was it a clerical error?
No, we didn't. But it had to be a mistake, or maybe they didn't want him, or maybe they didn't like him. Just left it off for the hell of it. You don't know that. But you can't take that chance because then you bust you out and throw you in the brig.
Yeah.
I told you about Ray Pollard, didn't I? Been thrown in the brig he was on guard duty and his shoes were untied and he been, bent over to tie his shoes, and one of the little Mickey Mouse sergeants put him on report for not standing orderly duty or all that crap. And he got 3 days. And I'm sure Polly mouthed off. And they threw him in the brig 3 days, bread and water. And when the Marines take care of the brig, you're down in the bottom of the ship is where the brig is. Mm-hmm. We would sneak him ham sandwiches and ice cream. And when the officers weren't around to catch us, but for 3 days. And when he got out, I said, he was in my platoon. I said, you're the only guy I know on bread and water for 3 days and gained 5 pounds. But Red Dog, when we had one of the reunions, I said, you ever find Polly? He said, yeah. He's in Brownsville, Texas. I said, is he coming to one of the reunions? He said, no, he told us all go to hell. He didn't want nothing to do with anybody. You don't need to be like that. But he was a good guy, too. But he just got there and got screwed over by some Mickey Mouse.
Yeah. Now, when you're on something like that.
Now that you have that's the way it was like that for a year and a half. Yeah. Well, not that half year. We got back from overseas and those guys were getting out. And then I made sergeant. And then the guys that were on PSC made corporal. And I was platoon sergeant. And we got a new officer, Harold Washington, who fought with Chesty Puller in the Marine Raiders. Mm-hmm. Too, and he was a staff sergeant in Korea. They pulled him out of a foxhole because they was running out of officers. Sent him to OCS, and here he comes aboard our ship. And he was my platoon leader. That's who I reported to. Mm-hmm. And a hell of a good guy.
Yeah.
And he's a Mustang. Mustang's a guy that comes up through the ranks. And
okay.
he was one of the best men I've ever met. And I'd go down a dark alley with him too. And me and him used to go out and get drunk. So that's another reason I like him.
So Mustang.
He can slam a Mustang. Most of your officers come out of Annapolis. Some from Stanford, go to ROTC, West Point, not in the Marine Corps, but those are the ones that go up to generals and the heads of the Army. You're a Mustang. If you get up to a major, that's pretty good. Some of them make full bird colonel, but not many. And they promote these other guys over you. So, although he was the best one, and he knew what was happening too. He was a sharp cookie. And I was on the officer. He was officer of the deck aboard ship one morning, and I'm sergeant of the guard. And I'd go up there and we'd bullshit. And Obie Joe Draper, boy, what a guy! He come aboard. You salute the flag, and then you go request permission to come aboard. and he tripped, and a bottle of half pint bottle of early times fell out of his sock. He had it in his sock and tripped, and it went skidding across the deck. I don't know why it didn't break. And Harold Washington, we called him Tashu, which means fierce warrior in Japanese, because I guess he killed thousands of them. He took no prisoners back in with Chesty Puller.
Really?
And Todd said, "I'll just confiscate that early times." And I told Obie, I said, "Why don't you at least have some Seagram VO?" I said, "That early times is like $1.39 a bottle. That's right good." So I told him that at one of the reunions. He said, "You remember that?" And I said, "Hell yeah, I was on duty." But he could have busted it. He just let it go.
So with when you're in something like that classified, that secret, do you ever wonder if there were things even more classified than that?
Oh, I'm sure there were. I'm sure some of it still is. Some of it, I think that was 417. And I got online here one time and I looked that up, and there's still some of them things that they say they haven't been scrubbed. They didn't declassify them, some of them. Yeah, I'll say they got them, but hell, the Chinese know more about us than we do ourselves. Americans don't care about that stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, that Andy Webb came over and interviewed me from Blink Films over at Tsar Bomba, that world's biggest bomb. And he just compared our Bravo shot with the Tsar Bomba. You heard of that one?
Mm-hmm.
It was a 3-stage of 2 atom bombs of hydrogen. We just had a 1-stage atom bomb, hydrogen bomb, 2-stage. Russia was 3-stage. It was 50. They wanted 100, but Sakharov just made it 50. And then he wouldn't make any more for him, so they hounded him to his death. And my daughter applied for United, went over there and went to his museum. That Zakharov that built Tsar Bomba. And he got the Nobel Peace Prize. You believe that shit? He built the world biggest because he wouldn't build any more.
He got the Nobel Peace Prize for building 100 megaton, or wanting to build a 100 megaton bomb, and they decided not to build anymore.
Unbelievable, huh? Yeah, I think one of the scientists' sons from Russia, he talks on that world's biggest bomb. But that Andy Webb, he guided me through that, and I wasn't allowed to use Dean Timmy's name because Timmy was standing next to me when the blast went off, our big blast. And when it took aim, I said, "Hey, Tim, I think we're goners." Well, he cut the film and he said, no names. Because they signed that out in California. They wanted to make a movie called Burning Sky. And it isn't out yet. But all they do is just interview everybody.
Mm-hmm.
A bunch of guys. Who wants to hear that? I mean, they tell you the same thing I'm telling you about the bone in your arm and the 1,000 times brighter than the sun. And hey, that's old news now. But it's supposed to come out in January, February. But I don't think it will, because they deliberately left us in the line of the most fallout to check the radioactivity on our bodies, and they deliberately left our names off the ship duty roster. So what's that tell you? They had to go in the archives and get that. Say Ron Halderman was a drunken bum on the ship or something like that. Whatever it says, I don't know. I don't care.
Yeah. How does that change your view of the United States when you realize that?
Oh, I don't know, not much. I still kind of believe in the tooth fairy and all that stuff. And I thought they'd take care of us, but now that I'm 87, I think they'll screw us up one side and down the other. And you can see it every day. And I don't trust none of them. The Democrats, Republicans, as long as they get in, they get their free medical. They're not on Obamacare. They get their retirement. Those representatives go in for 1 term, and they get $174,000 a year for the rest of their lives if they're just in for a 2-year term. And you know who did that? Well-fed Ted Kennedy. He punched all that through. I think it went in on the student loans for the children, for the college people. They we'll vote for that for the students. Hey, like Ohio's lottery. That said that it's going to go to the schools. It doesn't go to the schools. It goes to the general fund. And Gilligan was our governor when they pushed that out. And my wife and I were probably the only 2 people that didn't vote for it. I don't buy those damn tickets anyway.
Yeah.
Get a $5 lottery ticket to win $1 million. That's bullshit. I mean, you come close.
So now, and this is just kind of like a personal question about Tsar Bomba. Is it hard to even wrap your mind? Like, I mean, theoretically, like I understand it. I've seen videos of it. I understand like the numerical differences, but seeing something like Castle Bravo firsthand, can you even imagine what a Tsar Bomba would look like?
Well, a lot of polar bears got shot up in Siberia when they dropped it. I think they dropped it at 40,000 and detonated 25, and they knocked out windows for 300 miles away. So they just wipe you out.
Yeah.
If they ever drop one, you'd be better off being at ground zero. Then you'd be in ash. You don't have to worry about cancer or nothing.
That's true.
They just sweep you up. And the guys were going bald. I went below deck as soon as I could. I didn't stay up and watch it. I could see the fall being in a snowstorm. I could see it, and you could see the rainbow colors, but I didn't stare at nothing. I didn't stare into the fireball. And of course, I had dark glasses on for a long time before I took them off. And I braced myself on that gun mount and grabbed that sailor in the back of the shirt when the shock wave and the tidal wave hit us. I thought we were going to capsize. But that ship yawed or went over that far and groaned and creaked and the rivets were popping. And that's an old ship. That was bombed in 1941 at Pearl Harbor. And I thought, well, hell, we're goners. Guys were saying the Lord's Prayer and praying. Some of them were crying. I just got goose pimples, and you're apprehensive. I thought, man, this is it. My daughter said, "Did you think of Mom?" I said, "No, I didn't think of nothing." So I just thought this was it.
Yeah.
And you just watch that wave roll over you, and I wondered, why aren't we broadside? Well, they were tracking the mushroom cloud, and they tracked it right over us. It wasn't tracking anywhere. It wasn't going away. It's coming over us. Wind shifted. What was that? Lucky Dragon?
The Lucky Dragon.
They say that's a spy ship.
Yep.
Hey, they compensated those guys.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And the millions of dollars. Here's millions of dollars. Forget what you saw. Yeah, right.
Yeah. Yeah, the Lucky Dragon, that Japanese fishing trawler. Yeah.
There's a Rongo Lap. I think either 87 miles. Rongo Lap.
Mm-hmm.
Name of the island. So. Oh, well. Here we are, man. 87. I can't believe it. I really can't. Guys are dying, and here I am, old dummy. Red Dog, I call him every once in a while. They left California last week and went to Arizona. They got tired of that tax money. He worked for Volkswagen, the son-in-law, and they moved him. They offered to move him to Phoenix. They headed out. They're from born and raised California people. Well, they found me after they were living in Naperville, Illinois. And I drove up there because my daughter used to live up there. And we'd go up there and stay in Arlington Heights and go to the racetrack all the time up there at Arlington Park. And his daughter said, "Well, you know where it is? You know where the train station is in Naperville?" She said, "Yeah." I said, "Well, have Red Dog and Jim meet me there, and I'll just follow them out there." So they met me there, and I went out there, and that's when I first met all of them. So, well, I met Red Dog before, but I met her and her husband. Then they kind of ran our reunions, and they had a guy, what the hell was his name? Whatever. To film all these interviews. They were going to make money and sell to the History Channel and public TV. That ain't there yet, but it's more or less like Tsar Bomba.
Mm-hmm.
Marines telling you just what I'm telling you. They call it the main deck aft, but it's the fantail. That's the rear of it. So there.
So how does that shift your view? Having experienced it firsthand, seeing the real power of it, how does that shift your view for the rest of the Cold War, the living under the threat of the bomb?
We were powerful. And I wrote George Bush 9/11 and told him to load up a B-52 bomber with a 15 megaton and take care of it and quit screwing around. Well, you know what they did. They didn't help me. I wrote Jimmy Carter too. when they went into Tehran and in '79. Well, he was a wimp.
Yeah.
And I said, resurrect Enola Gay and go over and bomb that city. They'll let them go. All you have to do is threaten them. They'll let them go. They'll their ass out. Atom bomb killed 100,000. What do you think a hydrogen bomb would do?
10 million. Yeah.
Got a million?
10 million.
Whoever's there.
That would be a great foreign policy, the Halderman doctrine. You just drop a 15 megaton.
They won't do it. What?
No, I was gonna say, and that is sort of like the brutal reality of it is, what did we just get out of? We just got out of a 20-year quagmire in Iraq and Afghanistan. And it's like the amount of money spent, we killed 1.5 million civilians. We lost 7,000 servicemen and women. The brutal reality is if you zoom out and you go, which one would have been more effective and which one would have been more humane? Go in and drop an A-bomb.
There ain't none of them humane.
Well, I mean, in the big picture, is September 12th going in with an A-bomb more humane than a 20-year drawn out? It might be. It might.
I don't know. That's like they interviewed that one Marine guy. He's kind of a peacenik, talking about reasonable men and all that. And I say, you mean to tell me if that North Korean guy and Iran had a B-52 bomb, they could deliver these bombs, they wouldn't do it?
They would do it immediately.
They drop them right on us in a heartbeat. They hate us.
Yeah.
One thing is you're American and you're Christian.
Yeah.
Whatever you are, I don't care what you are.
Sure.
You're an American. And they hate Americans. And they drop that baby in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
But we won't. We just Mickey Mouse around. It's all about money here.
Yeah.
Khrushchev said we'd fail from within. The older I get, I'm seeing that because these young kids, they don't. I got grandkids like that.
Yeah. Yeah. No, Khrushchev said that America, the communist flag will fly in America, but it will be raised by its own citizens.
Fail from within. Yep. But that Tsar bomb with ours was in '54. That was in '61. That's 20 lifetimes in the science industry.
Yeah.
When they make these stealth bombers and all that, and then that B-52 bomber came out in February of '55 because they was testing those in '54. And hell, they're obsolete, but you know what? They're still flying them babies.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen one of them?
I not
get a chance to see one up close.
No, I've never seen one up close.
Take your breath away.
Really?
It's a big baby.
Well, I know they're still updating the avionics, and I think they want it to fly until 2055. I think they want it to make a century.
Well, they probably will. They used to fly 24/7 when LeMay was running it.
Yeah, yeah.
They all had a hydrogen bomb on them.
Yeah, Operation Chrome Dome.
And I think that kept the peace for, and they refueled them in the air.
Yeah.
So, yeah, my one buddy, the Pooch, he passed away, but he was a radio man. They had 3-man crew on them on B-52, and he was in SAC.
Yeah.
And he finally got out. I said, "Hey Pat, how was it?" He said, "SAC sucks." I said, "Oh, that discipline, that chicken shit. I know how that is."
Yeah. Yeah. But again, it is the sort of, it's almost poetic. The duality of strategic air command, chrome dome, thermonuclear weapons is like the most vicious, horrific, hell on earth weapons ever are what keep the peace.
Mass destruction, baby.
Yeah. That's
a weapon of mass destruction. I got that firsthand. You can see that.
Yeah.
They dropped 6 of them on us. You believe that?
Yeah.
And I know we were 23 miles away, and I assume the other ones were either more or less, but there's nothing to stop that, and it picks up. It feeds on itself, and it picks up coming over water. In fact, that 15 is now rated at 23 megaton. It's picked up like 30-40%. But the one that gets me, and that guy wouldn't let me talk about it, is the Romeo shot on the 26th of March, detonated in the same crater as that first one. So those frogmen had to get down there and anchor or whatever corals left and anchor that barge so it wouldn't drift away. And they detonated that. Well, they said it was 11 megatons. That's probably something.
Yeah,
Somebody must be mad. Maybe they're sending me money.
Yeah.
Kids could go to school. Yeah.
Maybe they're sending you emails telling you to stop talking about Castle Bravo.
Well, I just talk about it. I went out that retirement center and I met a guy that was on Okinawa. He was 93. He said, I was so glad that when Harry Truman dropped that bomb on August the 6th, he said, I was on Okinawa. And I said, well, I know they killed 100,000 people, but I said, I want to tell you, I said, you never heard of the Curtis Marines, have you? And he said, no. I said, well, that bomb that they dropped there, that size detonated the megaton bombs they dropped on us. I said, so that was 15 to 23 megaton.
Yeah.
So much for you. And I went, yeah, our bomb's bigger than yours.
Yeah. Well, that's what like missileers used to talk about in like the silos is there would be kind of like, dick measuring contests. They'd be like, well, the Atlas has this, and they'd be like, the Titan II has this. And I think it was LeMay that said, yeah, they're all thermonuclear weapons, but they're not the same. Some of them are BBs, some of them are bowling balls.
Well, if they nail you, you're a dead rat.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. You're dead nonetheless.
And the guy, when I used to say that they were real bomb shelters, and I was going to sit in my backyard and drink Miller and watch them bomb Cincinnati. Well, hell, my town was on this list to be bombed. I didn't know that.
Yeah,
I told you that, didn't I, about Hamilton?
Yeah,
the Northern bomb site and the 90mm cannon and the Sherman tank and a special paper for the OSS, which is the CIA. We made that in my hometown.
Oh, yeah.
In the backyard, they're going to bomb. They're going to bomb me up. Well, at least I'll let me finish my beer.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of I've talked to an ICBM historian before, David Stumpf, and I remember him saying, because he lived near one of the silos growing up, and he said that his dad had always told them, because he's like, Dad, how come we're not building, a silo or getting canned food? And he the first thing he did is he gave him a can of dog food and said, eat that. And he's like, Dad, this is disgusting. And he goes, well, that's what we're going to be eating in a nuclear Armageddon. And then the second thing is he got a ladder and brought him up to the roof. And he goes, if they drop an A-bomb, we're sitting right here on the roof and watching it. He goes, because we didn't Khrushchev say the living will envy the dead in a thermonuclear war? That's what he said. He said, so if we find out that there's incoming bombers, he goes, I'm taking the kids up to the roof and we're going to get an atomic suntan.
Yeah, they sure will. They'll go blind too.
Yeah. Well,
go blind. One of them's over in Auburn, Indiana. He might be gone, but Ed Franklin and I went to see him about 4 years ago, and he was paralyzed and blind in a wheelchair. You talk about dog food. I would tell you about that woman that kept feeding her husband dog food and it killed him.
No.
He was eating dog food, and he was sitting out in the middle of the street licking his balls and got run over by a truck.
The fuck? Really? Are you fucking with me?
Well, he's eating dog food and he's out there licking his balls. Truck ran over him. God, you're so young.
I know. I was because you have extraordinary stories. Like you witnessed Castle Bravo. So when you say extraordinary things, I have to stop and go, what is this?
We were all, I'll tell you what, we were all pretty good guys. There's a few assholes.
Yeah.
But most of us are pretty good, and nobody talked ever in all those years. That really knocked me out. Because everybody likes to talk, and when it came out, I said, did you think your little brother could keep his mouth shut that long? He said, hell no, because I've just run my mouth non-consistently.
Yeah. Yeah. It's now concerning Tsar Bomba and, looking at the time it was dropped, 61, right? Middle of the Cold War, right before Cuban Missile Crisis, 2 years before Kennedy, and the entire one-upmanship, the brinkmanship, the propaganda war. This is one thing I've always thought, and I'd love to hear your thoughts on it. Do you think the United States ever built something equivalent to Tsar Bomba? We just never used it. We don't talk about it. I just don't.
I think in Area 51 they did. Yeah.
Yeah.
They built those stealth bombers that when you carry those hydrogen bombs around, I think Russia would have come over and kicked our ass if they could have.
Mm-hmm.
And I worry about us now because China's the power now. You see their Navy, how they built that Navy? It's amazing. And when they fought in Korea, when those Marines that fought over there said there'd be 50,000 Chinese guys, and you got a pair of tennis shoes and a rifle and a bottle of rock, and they come flying down through there, and you kill 10,000 of them. They shove another 20 at you. You just run out of bullets, and they've got what, almost 2 billion people in China.
Mm-hmm.
You take China and India, there's half the world population.
Yeah, 1.7 and 1.3. Yeah.
And they're communistic, and they don't like our form of government. When the people protest here, I say, well, why don't you go to Cuba? They throw you in prison and shoot you.
Yeah.
In China, they take you out and shoot you. You don't protest these
They'll
places.
shoot you right in the street.
You don't want to hear it.
They'll shoot you right in the street.
And once they take away our weapons here, which is our God-given right to protect us from our own government. That's why they put that in there.
Yeah.
Protect us. Now, some woman told one of the politicians that said, she's from Texas. She said, I carry. She said, the reason I do that is protect me from you. Told that guy that on television. I forget who it was. I spoke at a Masonic temple.
Mm-hmm.
My wife and I went up there, and I went up there, and I like to go get a free meal. And I'm up there talking, and everybody up there had a gun.
Hell yeah.
There's some woman sitting there next to me. She's a school teacher. And she asked me if I wanted to see her 38. And I told my wife I was going to take off her brassiere, ate her belt. Loaded. The only ones didn't have a gun. But I don't care. That didn't bother me because everybody up there in our. In fact, my one neighbor, he's a black guy across the street, wanted to know if I had any extra 9mm shells. I told him, and he ran out. But they go shooting and hunting and all that stuff. And I don't do that.
Yeah.
I'm not a hunter.
Yeah.
I'm not a deer. I don't eat venison, and I'm a veggie guy. I eat them raw or cooked. Like when we were kids, we used to pull them potatoes out of the ground and wipe the dirt off of our shirt and eat them. Wipe it off of them. Creek. Stupid. Hell, I'm still here, so it must have been healthy.
I was going to say something's working. Yeah, no, we can't really call it stupid.
She said, you want to see my 38? And she was well endowed. I told Frida, I said, man, she's going to pull off her brassiere. It was a gun.
Yeah. What did your wife think of that?
My wife's good. We've been married 66 years. You kid, put up with me.
Yeah.
We're great.
Yeah.
Still.
Yeah. And you guys just celebrated your anniversary, right? On the 19th. And you guys just celebrated your anniversary, didn't you?
Yeah, 19th.
Yeah.
Yep. When Abraham Lincoln spoke at Gettysburg, and damn fool wouldn't come and visit us. You know, we're talking at Gettysburg. Did I ever tell you any story about Oliver Wendell when he was a young lieutenant?
No.
He was a Supreme Court justice. I think he was with the 20th Massachusetts, I think. And when Grant had Lee surrounded down at Petersburg and Richmond, and he cut off Lee's ability to maneuver. And if you can't maneuver, and because I got 150,000 men, and you only got 50, so he had him boxed in, and he sent Jubal Early up to Washington so Grant would pull away and let him get out. And Grant sent Illinois troops up there. Anyway, it's at Fort Stevens, and it's out on Georgia Avenue. If you ever get to D.C., go out there. And it's got a place where Abraham Lincoln sat. So they're out there watching the rebels are coming to shoot at them. And they're out there, and Lincoln's standing up, got that stovepipe hat, tall guy, and they're shooting at him. And Oliver Wendell Holmes looked over and smacked him on the arm, said, sit down, you damn fool. You want to get killed? And there's Abraham Lincoln. I like stuff like that. True story.
That's insane. Yeah, no, that's insane. Yeah, and I'm trying to remember where I read it, but I thought I remember reading years and years ago. I thought I remember reading somewhere that during the Cuban Missile Crisis, we had put nuclear tipped missiles down in Florida and pointed them right at Cuba. And I want to say the book is Legacy of Ashes: A History of the CIA, but in it, And I always remember it. And someone said, what are those? And it was one of the higher ups. And they said, these are 100 megaton warheads. And, we never publicly announced that we had them because
100 megaton, that'd be awful heavy.
yeah, but that's what they say. And well, the one thing I guess which gives credence to it is just in my imagination, I don't see us letting the Soviets outdo us. I feel like we would have built one if out of anything, just posturing. I feel like we would have done that. And they
I
say we
don't know.
didn't.
We had our shot with them.
Yeah.
They had it all set up, and Kennedy pulled the air support put a lot of guys in prison for 30 years.
Hmm.
But I saw a show one time. I don't know how they smuggled it out of Cuba about this family, and they had to walk 10 miles to get to a medical, like a hospital, and you had to wait, and the buses weren't running. The utilities run, I think in their house would run 1 hour a week, like on a Friday from noon to 1 for the electric to run. And they interviewed the father, who was, and his daughter and grandkids lived with him. And he said, we backed Fidel, but he threw us into the ground because he confiscated all their land. You ever hear Kid Gavin? He's to be a prize fighter. He was a prize fighter back in the late 40s and 50s, and never ran around women, never went out drunk, all that stuff. And he saved his money from Cuba, and he went back to Cuba and bought all these sugar plantations and put people to work. Then when Castro came in '58, they confiscated him and put him out in the field with the rest of them.
Jeez.
That's what communism does.
Yeah.
They shoot you over a loaf of bread.
Yeah. Yeah. And
I tell people that here when they get grumpy. I said, go live somewhere else.
Yeah.
People want to live here.
Yeah.
So we must be pretty good.
Yeah.
They give you that racist shit. Hey, racist, go to the Marines. You're not racist. If a black guy pulls you out of the foxhole and saves your life, you say, "Now you go back and get a white guy." You don't do that.
Yeah. Bullshit. Yeah. I think
bond with these guys. You don't care who they are.
Yeah.
And you know what? I met a guy this morning. Bob Evans went down, Oinky Evans, and he was from NAM. He was a Marine. And we were talking. I was telling him about what we did, and we simplified. And he was at Lejeune. He drank that tainted water they had, and he was all screwed up with that. And I tell him he got toenail poisoning, so he was drinking that water. And he said, "Yeah, and the government denied it for years." I said, "Yeah, they denied us too for 45 or 47 years."
Yeah,
well, they don't want a lawsuit.
What kind of things do you think, and this would all be wild speculation, what kind of things do you think there are like right now that there are guys like you back in 52 and that they can't talk about it till the year 2070? Like what kind of wild things do you think are going on right now? Like tests?
Well, I think they're selling us out.
You think?
Because they say we're the strongest nation in the world. I don't think we are. They like to tell the people that, but everybody I more or less feel the same way I do. And my grandkids don't, but they don't agree with me. But I tell them too. So well, go live somewhere else. You don't like it here. But they go to college and these left wing professors blow smoke up their ass, and if they don't go along with that, they fail the course.
Yeah,
I understand that.
Yeah,
they go along with and it's mostly socialistic.
Oh yeah, no, I had professors in college. Oh yeah, no, you could definitely tell if you wrote an essay with a conservative leaning, you'd get a worse grade.
Well, you want that grade, you've got to go along with what the professor or the teacher tells you. And I wouldn't last in there because I'd jump right up and wouldn't agree with them right out of the block. Because if I was flunk, that's fine with me.
Well, I did do that, and I actually did get a failing grade in the class in college because I was like, fuck this. I was like, no, this isn't like this is not. We're not doing this. I'm not complying with this. And
well, they don't want to, but
yeah,
I tell it anyway.
Yeah, I remember that. It was summer 2013. It was a class I took, and I ended up having to drop it because I had a failing grade because I wouldn't. Everyone else was like, just go along with it, and I was like, screw this, no. I was like, America's awesome, and I was like, so I was just writing about that. I got an F, and I was like, whatever. I don't
Did you
care.
get an F in it?
Oh yeah, no, that is the only class I got an F in. I had to withdraw from
I'll
the
tell you
class.
what, I was pretty good at math in my day, and I aced everything. I learned all the rules, the formula for the cone, how the bottom to the top, there's a formula for that. I had all that, and I aced everything. Got them all right. Went to the midterm exam, aced that, and he gave me a 99. I said, I thought you said you whatever grade you got, that's what you got. He said, well, you're not perfect. I said, well, who says 100's perfect? I said, did I get them all right? He said, yeah, but I'm not giving you 100. I'm giving you 99. And I thought, well, the hell with it then. So I just jacked ass around
Yeah.
and chased girls and all that shit.
Yeah.
Didn't study. And he come in and said, you need an 80 on your final to pass. So I got an 85 and passed. So there.
Yeah.
So then here I got my granddaughter married a Navajo Indian. His grandfather was a code talker. Boy, that
Oh really?
opened the door for me because I welcomed him right in.
Yeah.
And he's a good artist. Boy, he is. And he went to art school, and they had him drawn, so he didn't want to do that. And they said, well, you're doing that or you're failing. He said, I just quit. And he walked out.
Yeah.
And he's a full-blood Navajo.
Yeah.
I hear some of his stories, but he's anti-gun. I said, I can't believe it. I said, you ever hear Bury My Heart at Wounded Knee? He said, no. I said, read that. Did you ever read that?
No.
Bury My Heart at Wounded Knee? The Army, our government said, give us your rifles and we'll protect you. They went in, and the cavalry went in, saw the village, killed over 200 men, women, and children, and passed out medals of honor where the government rescinded all that shit. But so that they took their guns and then killed them. Read that.
I will.
Yeah, I don't think it's print. Bury My Heart at Wounded Knee. That's just what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So I told my one granddaughter, I said, well, if you come over and get my gun or a 12-year-old kid, I said, I'll shoot him in the head.
Yeah.
Said, you want to get killed? Come over after my gun. I'll shoot you.
Yeah. Well, because you have to, because it's
Dance with Bubba in the shower on Saturdays.
yeah. Yeah. It's well, because if someone wants to come take your guns, it's because they're getting ready to do something to you that would make you use a gun.
Well, I'll use it. I'm 87. Well, who cares?
Yeah.
It's better than dying of cancer.
Yeah.
Of course, I haven't got better knock on that. I haven't got it yet. In fact, I go to the 8th of December or the 15th of December, get checked again. I do that. They're good to me. People
Yeah.
rip the VA. They're good people. They got about 40,000 people taking care of 50 million veterans.
Yeah.
They're swamped, and you don't drop an appointment, I go.
Yeah.
So, well, I give my book to my daughter. I'll send you that.
Please,
Email me your address.
I will. You got to send me a copy so we could do another podcast and talk about it.
That's about what I'm telling you, how I got mixed up in it, and how my mom used to tie me to the clothesline when I was a kid and all that shit. I'd always get loose. I'd hide knives out in the yard. And I was known as Ronnie Dog. And you know what? A dog gets loose, he's gone. I'd take off for the day, and I'd run up there's an old guy named Candy Grimes. He'd always be sitting up at the First National Bank up there on the steps. This is Somerville, Ohio, a little town about 300. And he'd cut that rope off my leg where I'd take two rocks and pound them together and work them back and forth. I'd get loose every day. Take off. So I guess that's why I'm nuts.
I was gonna say, if she tied you up like a dog, I guess it's only a matter of time before you end up in the middle of the street, licking your balls.
Yeah, crazy. I wonder why you don't want to go see him when you're old, huh? That's the way that works too.
Yeah, I guess that is true.
Yep. My wife thinks I'm still safe. That's all I care about. That's fine.
Exactly. Yeah, please do send me that book. And
okay, send me your address over the email and I'll mail it to you.
I will. When did you guys have it put together?
Pardon?
When did you put it together? When did you write it?
maybe 5 or 6 years, maybe long. She said, you ought to write a book. I said, who the hell wants to read that shit? So you'd be surprised. Well, they put it in, it's about 80 pages. I wish it was more, but because after we got finished, I remembered more stuff. And she just sat down there and kind of interviewed me about going through the ghost ship. It's called The Ghost Ship's the name of it.
Okay.
And let me go get it. Could you see it if I held it up?
Yeah. I'll monologue. Yeah, he's going to get his book, The Ghost Ship. For everybody listening who didn't listen to our last episode, Mr. Halderman was a Marine and did security at. Oh, he's already back at the Castle Bravo test in 1952. Oh, he's already back.
Well, here it is. You see that?
Aboard the ghost ship, surviving the H bomb.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's me when I was 18 years old.
Wait, lift it up more.
Tennis shoes, baby.
Lift it up more. Lift it higher up. Oh, there you are. Okay. Oh, yeah. Yeah, handsome guy.
Yeah, well, that's what got me my woman.
Yeah.
And that's us playing cards aboard the back of the hole.
Jeez.
That guy there on the right with his big mouth shoving out there, that's Red Dog McKenzie. But it's only 80. You could probably read it before you fall asleep. I'll mail that to you.
Please do. No, I would love it. I'd love it.
That tells you what an asshole I was. The guy got the stolen car in there and played grab ass with Vet my niece. I was in there. I grew up with a kid. Well, we were all poor, and Vet Moniz, I used to play ball with him, and we one buddy's house, and we'd sleep on the rug and bum sugar put water on bread and sugar on, have sugar sandwiches, and take pop bottles back, 2 cents a pop bottle, 5 of them's a dime. Get you a box of Walnettos, caramels, and a Pepsi for a dime after they eat bad. That's what you live. That's how you live. And I'm out in San Diego in boot camp, homesick puppy. I've been in about a week. And I come out of chow hall, somebody yelled, "Hey, Ronald." And I looked around and there's Vet Moniz, my one buddy. And God, we hugged and jumped around and hugged each other. The DI come up and we was playing grab ass. Well, grab ass is when you're goofing off.
Yeah.
He said, "What are you playing? Grab ass?" "No, sir, we're not playing." I said, "Yeah, you are." So he said, "Grab his ass." I grabbed his ass. He grabbed my ass. He said, "What are you doing?" I said, "We're playing grab ass, sir." But you don't dare laugh. You laugh, they come out and get you, make you play. That's the way it worked.
Jeez.
I told that story, and I was out at Potter's Park golf course one day, and I saw this name, Kevin Moniz. And I said, "Is he out here?" And they said, "Yeah, he's down on the tee." And I went down there, and there's 4 black guys down there. And I said, "Is there one of you guys, Kevin Moniz?" Well, they all locked eyes on me. And he said, Kevin said, "I am." And I told him that story. Kevin had been in the Air Force 25 years. And we bonded right there, too. Played golf with him. I told him about his dad. I said, he's still, because the last thing I said was, "See you in Korea." Well, that was in 1952, September. Never saw him since. I said, "Is he still living?" He said, "No, he passed away." I said, "Well, I'm glad he had a life." He said, "Yeah." So anyway, that's a story. Playing grab ass. So if they want to play grab ass, that's what it is.
Well,
just like you see Full Metal Jacket.
I love that movie.
Well, everything's true in it except they shoot the drill instructor.
Yeah.
Out for every round, and you don't take a full clip off the rifle range to go blow some drill instructor out. That's bullshit. That's Hollywood stuff.
Yeah.
You better have if you don't have that round, you better have the empty casing, or you stay and find it.
Yeah.
It's on account of stuff like that. I don't remember ever that happening to anybody in all the times I've been in, but maybe it did. But I'll mail that to you.
Please do. And
want me to autograph it?
I was about to say, I was going to say that before we go. You got to autograph it for me.
Left-hander, and it's hard for me to write anymore. I'll put 7 X's on there instead of 1.
You better. I would love for you to autograph it. I'll email you my. Right. You better. I want it.
Okay, I'll do that.
No, please do. And
your address, and I'll do it.
I will. And like I told you, we have to cut this one short because I have another podcast, but I will email you, and let's also set up a I'm going to read it, and I'd love to do a third podcast with you, Mr.
And
Halderman.
I'll delete that address. No, you don't want anybody else getting it.
Yeah, no, don't give it anyone else.
You don't want the CIA coming after you or anything, do you?
Trust me, they're already coming. It's fine. They're coming, and there's nothing that's going to stop it. So might as well go out having a good time.
Well, it's worse as being friends with Clinton. That's when you commit suicide.
Well, that's when you become very suicidal, is when you're friends with them. I have had on several members on. I have had on several people in this podcast who are in the CIA, and so I can only imagine they've got tabs on me.
Well, we think George Kelly was the guy that formed us because him and Moore Joe went back in the military, and they were PFCs and corporals when I made sergeant, and Kelly's the guy that went with me to Philadelphia. We walked down to Shine Park to see Willie Mays play. I tell you that story.
Mm-hmm.
The Willie Mays, the kids asked me who Willie Mays was. I said, "You got to be kidding! You could have knocked me out." I told Kelly about. I said, "You remember when we did that?" And he said, "Yeah." And he died the next day he was down to Fisher House in Cincinnati.
Jeez.
Been to a lot of funerals, Tommy.
You did a lot of what?
I said I've been to a lot of funerals, and I cry over them and pray for them still.
Yeah. Well, it's good. You don't want to forget it.
I told that Lisa Varney that wanted me to come up there and speak this last November the 10th. And I said, well, I said, you don't mind if I break down and cry, do you? She said, no. She walked up and handed me a box of puff tissues. I said, I'll probably need them. And I needed them.
Yeah.
I get to talk about them. It just gets me.
Well,
died of cancer.
Yeah. Well, I think it's good though. I think if you stop crying and stop mourning them, then they're really disappeared. But if they're gone and you still remember them, I mean, that's, my older brother died 7 years ago, and, I still think about him and I still cry about him, but I'm happy. I'm happy I do, because if I didn't, then I feel like they'd truly be gone.
Well, that stuff never leaves you.
Yeah. That
guy today, I was talking to him. He come back from NAM, and I always welcome those when I see a guy who's been over to NAM, because our country give those guys a raw deal.
Yeah.
I always welcome them home, and he was a hell of a nice guy. And you're a Marine. In fact, my last line in this book, I'm going to read it to you. You can go anywhere in the world and meet a man or woman who are Marines and have a sister and brother. It never leaves, never dies. What's a Marine, always a Marine. Semper Fi.
Hell yeah.
That's my closing. But when I speak, I talk about all the whiskey and stuff I used to bring to my room, the Glenlivet single malt scotch and a bottle of Seagram's VO, and they come to my room and we sit there and drink and talk. And now when I travel, I'll take a can of prune juice and a bottle of stool salt.
Hey man, I'm not too far. I'm 31, and after a weekend, I'm taking stool softener and fiber. I'm 31.
I'll take it too.
It's great.
Better than shitting a rock, man.
Amen. It absolutely is. I don't care. Yeah.
I know when I had kidney stones, I never got kidney stones. I never got stuff, but I got 3 little sand kidney stones. I was up at Gettysburg, and I thought I was dying. Went to the hospital, and they X-rayed. Oh, you got 3 kidney stones, and I was in a lot of pain. They give me morphine. Well, I never knew what the hell I never took that. You talk about plugging up, man. I had to get a sewer auger to clean myself out. It was terrible.
That happened to me in 2014 when I got my tonsils out and I was on Vicodin for a month. I don't think I shit for a month. It was terrible.
Yeah.
It was terrible.
It's solid concrete, baby.
Yeah, it's terrible. It's terrible.
I cut that because I used to drink 2 gallons of milk a week. I'm a milk drinker. Now I just switched over to water. I use milk mainly on my cereal. I was an old teen guy, veggies and all that stuff. And when I'd eat ice cream, I put hot fudge sundaes on it. Boy, those are good. So I stop all that stuff because I was getting those little sand kidney stones. Boy, I don't get them anymore. I stay away from that stuff.
Jesus.
I'm giving you all my life story.
I know.
I'm 87. I got to know something.
Yeah, I know. No,
to listen to the wise old man of the family. That's me.
Well, hey, that's why I'm having you on, is I'm getting your life secrets. All right. This isn't charity. I'm getting something out of this too. Well,
I think of more when we leave because whenever I speak, I always want my wife or daughter to go with me because they jog my memory. They remind, well, tell them about this one, Dan. But when I went to that one up there at the retirement center, I didn't want to talk over 15, 20 minutes because we were having dinner. And I said, I don't want to hear you guys snoring. And I had this American flag shirt with the Constitution or whatever on the back of it, all red, white, and blue. And I'm looking over there, and there's some sitting over, he got the same damn shirt. And I said, you went in my closet and stole my shirt. He said, no, I never. He was they were all mostly 80, 90 years old because they fought in World War II.
yeah.
So I was just a punk kid up there.
Yeah. Well,
with all my teeth.
I thought you still have them.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, you're saying still a punk kid. Oh.
I go to the dentist twice a year, VA twice a year, and the medical doctor twice a year. Just do it. And go to proctologist once a year, and he says, "See you next year." So I love you.
You're going to be doing my podcast for the next 20 years.
I go there, and he said, "You don't need to wave." I said, "Fine with me." I said, "You at least you're using both hands." That's terrible. Well, you want this dirty old man stuff, and you're getting it.
Hey, man, I love it. That's why I have you on. I wouldn't have you on if I didn't enjoy talking to you, Mr. Halderman. Like we have to wrap this one up, but I will text Bill. I'll send you my address to get that book. Please do autograph it. And I would love to set up another podcast with you.
Okay.
Mr. Halderman.
I'll mail it to you.
Please do.
I got a picture of my wife, and don't come over here and bother. I'll throw your brains out. She's a good looking chick.
What happened to Tommy? John Halderman shot him dead. Wow. Well, I guess that was a fitting end.
God bless you. Nice seeing you. Nice talking to you.
You too, Mr. Halderman. Merry Christmas and happy belated anniversary to you and your wife. And
never dies. And I'm still the same guy I always was, just a little older and maybe smarter. I don't know. I try to think I am.
I think you are. I think you're hilarious.
Well, tell it like it is. If you don't like our nation, get out. We're not racist. We're a good country, and
that's why I keep this behind me every episode. Mr. Halderman, thank you, sir.
Hey, thank you. God bless you.
You as well. Merry Christmas.
How do you get out of here? Hit that stick up there.
I'll get it. All right.
I see it where it says leave.
Yeah. All right, Mr.